What up, everybody? Force Season 3, Episode 3. Diamond and Jenard sent D-Mac into a death trap, hoping it would solve their problem with King Kilo, who wants D-Mac dead for killing his nephew, Mad Dog. But this only created more problems as D-Mac survived, accomplishing the mission impossible that Diamond and Jenard sent him on, leaving them shocked when D-Mac showed up to the barbershop at the end of episode 3, and not expecting D-Mac to survive after telling him that if he pulled this caper off, that they would let him back in CBI. So because of that, Diamond and Jenard were forced to tell D-Mac that he was back in CBI. And as soon as Diamond told him, "Welcome back in CBI," Tommy walked in, asking Diamond what he meant D-Mac was back in CBI. But when D-Mac walked into the barbershop with the bag he was bringing Diamond and Jenard that he stole from the 9/7s, he noticed that Diamond and Jenard looked more upset than they did excited about him pulling off this lick. Because of that, he asked him what was up with the long faces, saying he thought they would be happy that he pulled this off. At this point is when Diamond tried to play things off like everything was good and he was happy and told D-Mac that he was back in CBI. But now that Tommy has walked in, the big question is, how is Diamond gonna try to play this off with Tommy? Because the fact we know Tommy and Diamond aren't gonna beef immediately after this, because there's a clip in the trailer for episode 4 that shows Tommy and Diamond working together to go against Rashawn, the leader of the SODs. And now there's also an exclusive clip out that shows Tommy and Diamond together bringing money to Che. So like I said a few days ago in my episode 4 trailer breakdown video, that I believe Diamond is going to try to play this off by telling Tommy that D-Mac killed Mad Dog and letting him know that's who killed Leon, and because D-Mac had his back, he welcomed him back in CBI, while also taking the attention off himself by telling Tommy that King Kilo wants D-Mac dead because of that. Anything to try to keep Tommy from figuring out that Diamond and Jenard had sent D-Mac on a death mission to rob the 9/7s, a group that has police protection. But when Diamond started talking to Tommy, trying to cover his steps, making an excuse for letting D-Mac back in CBI, D-Mac is going to realize that Diamond is bull. Keeping in mind that Diamond was pissed off when he originally killed Mad Dog, telling him that he just created more problems. And D-Mac knows that he got back in CBI because of a robbery that he pulled off, and is going to wonder why Diamond and Jenard are telling Tommy that they let D-Mac back in for another reason. D-Mac is also going to wonder why, after he killed Mad Dog, that Diamond and Jenard never told him that King Kilo wanted him dead. But either though D-Mac is going to start to figure out some of the things aren't right about what Diamond was telling Tommy, I don't think that he'll tell Tommy the truth about everything that's been going on between him, Diamond, and Jenard either. I'm reminded of OG Power, how Tariq saved Dre's life multiple times by lying to Ghost and Tommy. And even one time how he overheard their plan to kill Dre and sent him a text message that saved him. In the same type of way, I think that D-Mac is probably going to cover for Diamond and Jenard and go along with whatever story they tell Tommy and not tell Tommy how he robbed the 9/7s. This will probably have a lot to do concerning the fact that D-Mac wants back in CBI so bad, and Diamond finally just let him back in. And for D-Mac, getting back in CBI is more important than anything else right now. It's like how in Power, even after Tariq found out that Slim was Kanan, and he was held for ransom at gunpoint by Jukebox, Tariq still ended up not only continuing to hang out with Kanan, but he also covered for Dre, who Kanan met Tariq through, and never told Tariq the truth that Slim was Kanan. Even though Dre did try to warn Tariq to stay away from Kanan, And part of the reason why Tariq did this is because at this point he had leverage over Dre and could force him to do whatever he wanted him to do. He used this leverage to get Dre to give him Ray Ray's location, and this is why Dre didn't give Tariq the wrong address like Ghost said he should have, because he was afraid that Tariq would tell Ghost and Tommy the truth if he didn't. Tariq also later used his leverage over Dre to force Dre to give him a brick of powder that Tariq started selling at Callister. So because D-Mac wants back in CBI so bad is one reason why he'll cover for Diamond and Jenard and not tell Tommy the truth. But if he realizes that they're lying to Tommy, D-Mac could also realize, like Tariq did, that this gives him leverage over Diamond and Jenard. And sticking with the parallel of Tariq and Dre, like I mentioned before how at one point Tariq overheard Tommy tell Ghost eyes were on Dre, and instead of giving his speech at Raina's funeral, Tariq sent Dre a text message and told him to run. In the same type of way, I think that D-Mac could also save Diamond and Jenard's life from a trap that Tommy tries to set for them whenever things go all the way left between Tommy and Diamond and Tommy becomes a lone wolf. Keeping in mind that the trailer shows a clip with somebody on a motorcycle shooting at some people with Diamond behind him. And now that we know that D-Mac has a sports bike, there's a good chance that that's who the shooter is, even though that's not the same bike that D-Mac was riding in episode 2. And Shanti is also connected to a group of bikers who will be introduced to in episode 4. But none of those bikers were riding that specific bike either. And if you look at the helmet, it does look like the same helmet that D-Mac had on in episode 2. The gun the shooter on the bike is using also looks like the gun that D-Mac always uses. So once Tommy and CBI split up, Tommy could potentially set a trap for CBI when D-Mac comes through on his sports bike and shoots up the place, saving everybody who was there in CBI. And the main reason why D-Mac would do this wouldn't be to save Diamond and Jenard, but it would be to save his best friend, his brother, his day one, Marshall. Because notice Marshall is with Diamond and Jenard in this clip as they're walking away with a bunch of bodies laid out on the ground behind them. But either though, I do think that D-Mac will not only cover for Diamond and Jenard, but save their lives from a trap that Tommy sets for them. I also think once D-Mac does eventually realize the truth that Diamond and Jenard tried to have him killed in that robbery, that he could also end up being who takes out Diamond and or Jenard if they don't survive the series. Keeping in mind that it was Tariq who took Kanan off the board and who shot Ghost. And at some point we got to believe that everything is going to come out and Tommy will find out about D-Mac and the 9/7s and will tell D-Mac it was a death trap because that business had nothing to do with CBI. And this could potentially happen because the fact that Nutty Boy died and was affiliated with CBI. So the 9/7s and those dirty cops could potentially end up retaliating against CBI also. Just adding one more piece to the gang wars taking place in the streets of Chicago in Season 3 of Power Book Force. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.